Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Before we begin, have you taken a moment today to reflect on the vastness of Allah's creation and the depth of His wisdom? The universe around us, our souls within us, the connection between all things. These are mysteries that have captivated humanity for millennia. What if I told you that over 800 years ago, one man unlocked secrets of spiritual reality so profound that his teachings still guide seekers today? What if this same man was called both the greatest saint and the most dangerous heretic of his time? This man wasn't just a mystic. He was a revolutionary philosopher, prolific author, visionary poet, and spiritual master who dared to map the very structure of existence itself. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary story of Muhyi al-Din Ibn Arabi, known as al-Shaykh al-Akbar, the Greatest Master, a man who experienced divine visions that transformed Islamic spirituality forever. If you're fascinated by the deepest mysteries of faith and existence, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We're about to explore one of history's most profound spiritual minds. How many times have you wondered about the nature of reality itself? About the relationship between creator and creation? About whether there's a hidden unity behind all the diversity we see? These questions have puzzled humanity since the beginning of time, but Ibn Arabi claimed to have received direct divine answers through mystical visions and spiritual unveiling. Our modern understanding of Islamic mysticism, Sufism, and even interfaith dialogue rests on foundations laid by this remarkable figure. But his story has been both celebrated and suppressed, praised and condemned. Today, we're uncovering the truth about this spiritual giant. Picture this. It's 12th century Andalusia, the golden age of Islamic Spain. Córdoba rivals Baghdad as a center of learning. Libraries overflow with works in Arabic, Hebrew, and Latin, and Muslim, Christian, and Jewish scholars debate in the same halls. Al-Andalus is a beacon of tolerance and intellectual excellence, where poetry flourishes alongside philosophy, and mystical experience is valued as much as rational knowledge. The Almohad dynasty rules with an iron fist, but beneath the surface, spiritual movements are brewing that will transform Islamic thought forever. Born in 1165 CE in Murcia, southeastern Spain, Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Muhammad ibn al-Arabi al-Hatimi al-Ta'i grew up in a world of cultural sophistication. His father was a respected scholar and government official who served the ruling dynasty, ensuring young Ibn Arabi received the finest education available. Murcia was a thriving center of learning, where students came from across the Mediterranean to study Islamic jurisprudence, theology, philosophy, and the mystical sciences. Around the age of 20, something extraordinary happened that would change Ibn Arabi's life forever. He experienced his first major mystical vision, what he later described as a spiritual awakening that revealed to him the interconnectedness of all existence. In this vision, he claimed to have been taken on a spiritual journey through multiple levels of reality, guided by prophetic figures and angelic beings. This wasn't just a dream or imagination. Ibn Arabi insisted it was a direct spiritual experience that gave him access to knowledge beyond ordinary human reasoning. This initial opening was followed by years of intensive spiritual practice, study with various Sufi masters, and increasingly profound mystical experiences. What made Ibn Arabi truly revolutionary was his claim that he received direct divine inspiration for his teachings. He didn't just study previous masters. He claimed to receive knowledge directly from spiritual sources through visions, dreams, and mystical unveiling. His most famous work, the Meccan Revelations, contains over 11,000 pages of spiritual teachings that he claimed were dictated to him during mystical states. Ibn Arabi developed a sophisticated philosophical system to explain and organize these mystical insights. His doctrine of the unity of being attempted to explain how the infinite divine reality manifests as the finite world we experience. This teaching would become his most influential and most controversial contribution to Islamic thought. According to Ibn Arabi, all existence is essentially one reality appearing in countless forms. The divine and the created aren't separate entities, but different aspects of a single underlying reality. This doesn't mean everything is God in a pantheistic sense, but rather that everything exists within divine consciousness and has no independent existence apart from the divine. Ibn Arabi's spiritual insights weren't limited to abstract philosophy. He claimed to have experienced direct communication with all the prophets of monotheistic traditions, receiving teachings from Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad in visionary encounters. These experiences led him to develop a sophisticated understanding of the essential unity underlying different religious traditions. He taught that while the outer forms of religions differ, their inner spiritual reality is fundamentally the same. All authentic spiritual paths lead to the same divine source, though they may use different languages and practices. This perspective made him a pioneer of what we now call interfaith spirituality, centuries before such ideas became widespread. His famous poem declares, "My heart has become capable of every form. A meadow for gazelles, a convent for Christian monks, a temple for idols, the pilgrim's Kaaba, the tables of the Torah, the book of the Quran." Ibn Arabi's literary output was staggering. Over 400 works on mysticism, philosophy, poetry, and Islamic sciences. His two masterpieces, the Meccan Revelations and the Bezels of Wisdom, contain spiritual teachings of unprecedented depth and complexity. The Meccan Revelations is essentially an encyclopedia of Islamic esotericism, covering everything from Quranic interpretation to angelic hierarchies, from spiritual psychology to cosmological speculation. Around 1200 CE, Ibn Arabi embarked on the journey that would define the rest of his life, the pilgrimage to Mecca. But this wasn't just a ritual obligation. For Ibn Arabi, the Hajj became a spiritual odyssey that took him across the Islamic world and deepened his mystical understanding. During his years in Mecca, he experienced some of his most profound visions and began writing the Meccan Revelations. From Mecca, he traveled throughout the Middle East, studying with Sufi masters, engaging with scholars, and gathering disciples. Eventually, Ibn Arabi settled in Damascus, where he spent his final years teaching, writing, and guiding disciples. His home became a center of mystical learning that attracted seekers from across the Islamic world. His daily routine in Damascus reveals his dedication to both inner and outer aspects of spiritual life. He maintained regular prayers and religious observances while spending hours in mystical contemplation and visionary experiences. Ibn Arabi's teachings sparked controversy from the beginning and continue to generate debate today. His doctrine of the unity of being was particularly problematic for Orthodox theologians who feared it blurred the distinction between creator and creation. Critics accused him of pantheism, of claiming that everything is literally God. The controversy intensified after his death, with some scholars declaring his works heretical, while others hailed him as the greatest spiritual teacher in Islamic history. Major theologians like Ibn Taymiyyah launched fierce attacks on Ibn Arabi's teachings, while equally prominent figures like Abd al-Karim al-Jili and Sadr al-Din al-Qunawi developed and defended his ideas. Ibn Arabi died in Damascus in 1240 CE, but his influence was just beginning. His voluminous writings were copied and studied throughout the Islamic world, from Andalusia to Indonesia. The Ottoman Empire, in particular, embraced Ibn Arabi's teachings. Many Ottoman intellectuals and mystics studied his works intensively. In Persia, his influence was equally profound. Mystical poets like Hafez and Jami drew inspiration from his ideas, while philosophers like Mulla Sadra incorporated his insights into sophisticated metaphysical systems. Even in India, Ibn Arabi's works were translated and studied. Ibn Arabi's relevance extends far beyond historical Islamic culture. His teachings on the unity underlying religious diversity anticipated many contemporary interfaith initiatives. His sophisticated treatment of mystical experience provides resources for dialogue between different spiritual traditions. Contemporary spiritual seekers from many backgrounds find inspiration in his teachings on the unity of existence and the universal nature of mystical experience. What can we learn from Ibn Arabi's extraordinary life and teachings? First, the importance of combining intellectual rigor with genuine spiritual practice. Second, the value of remaining open to spiritual inspiration and guidance. Third, the possibility of finding unity without sacrificing authenticity. Fourth, the importance of articulating mystical insights clearly for others. Fifth, the courage to pursue truth despite controversy and opposition. Most importantly, Ibn Arabi demonstrates that the deepest spiritual truths are available to sincere seekers in every age. His example shows that direct divine guidance and mystical realization aren't limited to ancient prophets, but remain possible for contemporary spiritual practitioners. In our age of spiritual confusion and religious conflict, we need more people like Ibn Arabi, individuals willing to seek truth beyond superficial differences, to experience the divine directly, and to articulate their insights for the benefit of all humanity. His legacy challenges us to be more than passive consumers of religious tradition. Like Ibn Arabi, we must be willing to undertake the inner journey of purification and realization that leads to genuine spiritual knowledge. May Allah grant us the sincerity to seek Him truly, the wisdom to understand His signs, and the courage to follow the path of realization that leads to His presence. May we benefit from the example of this great spiritual master and find in his teachings guidance for our own journey toward the divine. If you found this exploration of Islamic spirituality inspiring, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of the great spiritual masters who illuminated the path to the divine. Jazakallahu khairan for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.